4 of 10 say they don't have one close friend.
They have to contribute to loneliness.
The stats are brutal. People who deal with this level of loneliness.
New digital age of the internet, cell phones and social media.
It's on par with someone who smokes a pack of cigarettes per day.
Oh, because I watch a streamer that I'm subscribed to, that I even contribute money to, that's my friend.
Officially been labeled the loneliest demographic.
We're sort of more physically isolated than we probably have ever been.
This one is about friends and friendship. We're back like cooked crack. Rich, listen, never have I ever been more prepared for an episode like this episode today, because this one is about friends and friendship. And never have I been more happy to see your fucking face across the country, because it reminded me what a luxury it is to have friends. As a man in his 30s, this episode today is about the friendship recession. When we started our research, we didn't think it would be this much of a problem that was plaguing, it's not even young men in their 30s and 40s. When you sent me the original idea, what were you thinking and how are you feeling now after you've done some research?
I thought it was like, all right, cool. This is a problem that all men face. We feel a little bit lonely, feeling like friends are isolated. Everyone's kind of either busy with their career or busy with their family. You know, you don't get enough time to sort of connect with your homies. I thought it was something sort of lighthearted like that. And then once we started to do the research, I'm like, damn, wait a minute, friendship recession? Like, we even found a term for it, and there's a recession out here, man.
And we didn't make this word up.
No, we found that in a Harvard Business School review article and doing our research. This is a real problem.
It's not only a problem, Rich. Some of the stats that I'm going to share, again, we're not gurus, we're not gods. We say this every episode. Definitely not Harvard business graduates or anybody that's in the world of human psychology to the point where we can speak like we're an authority on the subjects. But this is basically us just doing deep dives on some legitimate articles and pulling some stats out. Stat number one that fucked me up was male loneliness has become so severe that it has the same exact rate of cause of death as to someone who smokes a pack of cigarettes per day. Meaning, people who deal with this level of loneliness and isolation, the correlation between the depression that comes from it to the cause of death, which we did another episode on, which was suffering in silence, which we've seen this huge spike in suicides amongst men. It's on par with someone who smokes a pack of cigarettes per day. Out of 10 men, ages 25 plus, 4 of 10 say they don't have one close friend. That means anywhere you look around you right now, if you're listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube, if you can gather up 10 men over the age of 25, 4 of them will honestly tell you, I don't have one close friend.
Damn.
The stats are brutal. I got one more. Harvard research confirms that men in their 30s and 40s have officially been labeled the loneliest demographic of all demographics. So no matter how you want to slice the pie, men in their 30s and 40s have been confirmed the loneliest demographic of all demographics. So, Rich, just to double back to what you said, you sent me this idea as a fun conversation. And of course, we always do our research. We found this category called the friendship recession. Where do you think something like this comes from, Rich? Because you had mentioned high school and college being the better years to build relationships and how it drops off. You had like a pretty good explanation for it off air.
Yeah, I was just sort of reflecting in my personal life, and I'm like, man, if you take a step back and you think about all your friendships in high school, right? High school was the moment where it was all about friends. Like, what are we gonna do after school? What are we gonna do during lunch? What are we gonna do on the weekends? Some of that ends up trickling as you graduate and move on into college. End up having a new set of friends and college friends and studying in lecture hall and things like that. And then somewhere there's a disparity between when you graduate college and when you kind of like start your career and start the real world, where like people just start to fall off. Either people move to different cities or people become more career driven and they're just focused on sort of like climbing the corporate ladder, or they're just busy in like a newfound relationship that they have with a significant other. So I think it's real interesting how the older you get, the quicker the friend group starts to sort of like drop off. That's what we're here to unpack, is sort of like why that is.
I think what you said is one of the dirtiest secrets in this particular subject that we're talking about. And the dirty secret is 9 times out of 10, when men hang out with each other in their teenage years or in their college years, it's always a means to an end. And usually the end is either women finding your person, if that's your style, like if you want to date to find someone to be exclusive with and eventually build a family with, or money, which you're surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you or have more access and resources than you, and they lead to maybe opportunities of employment or to get more money. And I find that men are a little taboo when it comes to that. They wouldn't say it outright directly, but I think that's one of the things off top we should address. That's where a lot of the relationships are built around when you're younger. You might say, oh, my boy is fun to be around. He just got good energy. He always brings other friends around. Well, he serves you in a way that makes your community more social. Because if you're cool with somebody who's cool with a lot of people, then that makes you naturally cool with more people. Or if he's cool with girls or other guys that have girlfriends they hang out with, now you have access to more women. And the list goes on. If he dresses well, if he has a nice car, if he has a cool apartment, a cool house, he's part of a fraternity, anything like that associated to things that we want. So it's a dirty little secret, but I want to put it out there early. That's okay that you have relationships that are built around these things.
Yeah, even more so, right? When I think of why the separation and sort of the drop off of friends happens, I think of COVID. I think of like remote work and just continuing to sort of isolate ourselves in this like new digital age of like the internet and cell phones and social media. We're sort of more physically isolated than we probably have ever been. We often look at influencers or content as a way to cope and be like, oh, that's my friend. One of the things we spoke about was like this sort of parasocial epidemic where now these young men think that, oh, because I watch a streamer that I'm subscribed to, that I even contribute money to, that's my friend. I'm watching a 24/7 streaming marathon of Kai Cenat or IShowSpeed, and I feel connected to him because I saw him from the time he woke up to the time he went to sleep. And this is weird, like digital relationship that these younger men have with like digital creators that I find interesting.
It is a parasocial relationship, and I want to break that word down because it might go over some people's heads. All a parasocial relationship is, it's the equivalent of you watched 8 seasons of Game of Thrones and you truly identified with and enjoyed one character to the point where you started following all their fan accounts, and then you started buying memorabilia of them. And you kind of create this whole world around you where you know the actor who plays Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones, but you only know him as Jaime Lannister, the character in Game of Thrones. A parasocial relationship is, the relationship is only one-sided. The same could be said about an OnlyFans girl, but I'll leave that conversation for another day. Same thing though, it's only one-sided. You're only contributing. They're giving you content, but they don't know who you are. So the parasocial relationship gets tricky when you meet these people in real life and you see them almost like a child that is seeing their best friend that they spend infinite amount of time with. And when they see you, they don't know who the fuck you are. And they're shocked and they're kind of taken away by how much excitement and love you have for them. That is essentially a parasocial relationship. It's not a fair exchange in the dynamic of time spent versus time consumed. And the problem with that is you start building your world around this person and you disconnect time that you could be making other friends. And I think that is what you're saying, Rich. And that's probably a younger man's issue, but I could see it happening with older guys too.
Yeah, and I feel like those particular relationships, they have to contribute to loneliness, bro. Because like I'm of the mindset of like, man, you gotta meet up with the homies, like physically. Like sure, if they're in a different state, different country, that's different. But there's something to be said about how you feel when you go play basketball with your friends or go catch a movie or go out to dinner, have some drinks, that just feels like a different camaraderie than you following a digital creator, watching a stream for hours on end and thinking that that's your friend.